What are we doing?
Dude, I don't know.
You need a hug? All right, let's do it.
So I was doing some research.
It's like therapy for us. You're just easing into not having much time on your hands.
And I'm stoked for the journey. Hey everybody, welcome to Two Dads on a Mic. My name is Brian Boyd.
My name's Zach Gittler.
And we are bringing to you episode number
3.
3 it is.
That's right.
Happy to be back, buddy.
Oh, so awesome, man.
How you been?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Oh, doing awesome, man. I'm stoked to be back once again.
Number 3, man.
In
We
the
made
studio,
it.
rocking
We
it.
made it. Number 3.
Dude, lucky number 3?
I know. Lucky number 3.
I guess.
Every number's lucky for me, man. So I'm good.
A little housekeeping. Make sure that if you like our content, if you're loving what we're doing, help us out, rate us, follow us, subscribe to us, comment. Show us some love on all of our platforms, podcast, YouTube.
Two Dads on a Mic. The number 2. We encourage you guys. Content's good. We just want to bring you as much as we can. Be happy, be fun, and that's what we do.
That's right. Handle is at 2 Dads, the number 2. Dads on a Mic. Everywhere you go and everywhere you see, that's what it will be. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you name it.
What is
there.
Facebook?
Facebook.
What the heck? I've been hearing about this, man. What is it?
It is, it's actually, the definition of Facebook is
What?
World domination.
For real?
Yeah, I think that's what the Urban Dictionary is of
Urban
Facebook.
Dictionary. I was like, real dictionary? Like, that'd be amazing. I'm like,
World
pay a lot of money
domination.
to put that in. That's cool.
And then,
so I can create my
synonym for it is Amazon.
So I can create my own definition
For Facebook?
on certain things in general.
I don't know. I don't know how Urban Dictionary works, to be honest with
You
you.
can submit anything you want.
You can? Like dadding?
You've researched some of the words on.
Well, no,
on the
I've
dictionary.
researched, but I didn't know that that's how they got there.
I found out because all
I
the
thought
dirty ones.
I thought it was just straight Snoop Dogg. It was like his platform to put things down.
Someone got smart. I like it.
Right? I mean, I think Snoop Dogg should oversee Urban Dictionary.
Done.
Right?
I'll second that.
Like Foshizi's got to be on there.
True.
Right?
No, there's a lot of bad stuff on there.
Is there?
That's how I got
Is it
exposed
dirty?
to it. It's funny dirty. Some of the stuff is like, oh, but that's funny.
Okay, let's get into it. Speaking of dirty,
Yeah, dirty.
we're talking swearing today.
Swearing.
Swearing.
Yes.
When did you start swearing as a kid?
I don't even know. I'd probably say like 11. I don't even know. I don't know.
You don't remember?
No, I don't. I honestly don't remember.
I remember.
When?
I remember. So I have a few vivid memories of swearing when I was a kid, and I grew up in Salt Lake City, and the 4-letter word was a staple in the Boyd household.
Which one?
Not just the BOYD word.
Which one?
There were multiple.
Gotcha.
Or a multitude of 4-letter words in a row.
Dad or mom? Who swore more?
Oh, mom never swore. I mean, if mom swore, you're in trouble.
True.
Right?
True. That was like the saying your middle name thing.
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
Emerson.
Okay, that's a good name.
Yeah, that's my dad's name.
That's a good name.
Yeah. So mom very rarely swore. Or she'd say like, damn it. Like,
Yeah.
damn it. Something like that. Dad, whole nother story, man. I mean, you're talking ex-military. You're talking high school principal. You're talking, it was in his blood. And I remember thinking to myself when I was in 2nd grade, 8 years old, like, man, I got a mouth. And I had a mouth,
That's impressive.
And I think the reason it came to my attention is because someone pointed out to me, like one of my neighborhood friends was like, man, you swear a lot. And I was like, really? Like, I don't think I ever noticed it.
Because you just grew up that way.
It was everybody in the neighborhood knew my dad, and everybody knew that my dad swore. And I mean, if he was out in the garage working on a car, if he was working on anything in the yard, the sprinkler system, we knew that there were some bombs about to be dropped, and they were not subtle. I mean, people knew when Emerson was mad. Yeah, it was. So I picked up on it, and I swore, and I still do. I'm a swearer.
Swear words are normal.
Do you remember? Did you ever get caught swearing?
I don't know. My parents weren't big swearers. From what I remember growing up, it's what you attach to too as you grow up and what you remember. I don't, at all remember them swearing at all.
Well,
but
then
like,
what made you swear?
I don't know.
Because it was my.
I mean, it was probably music. Because I was gonna say nowadays is different. Like how people are influenced is music and social media. But music, everything I listened to once I got like into hip hop, BC Boys and stuff probably started it.
The BC Boys?
Probably, but I don't remember
that.
I don't remember swearing. I swear a lot now, though.
Do you?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you drop it like it's hot. Swearing a lot.
Swearing a lot.
I remember when I got caught swearing.
Who caught you, mom or dad?
Mom or dad. We were out in the yard.
Did he hold his hand back real quick and just like?
No.
Or did he give you a high five?
No, dude. I wish. It would have been a much better
experience. Here's a beer, son.
Right? And I think that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to get into that in a little bit because I think that you can have an impact on your kid if you approach it the right way. But we're going to hold that off for a second because that's going to be a good that's going to be a good way to get into it. But I was and think about this, right? I told you that the majority of the time when my dad was swearing, he was out in the yard, he was doing something. So I was mowing the lawn. And we had this bush that was kind of overhanging the lawn. And we had this old lawnmower, and it had this metal piece that came up off the tire. I think they still have them, but came up off the tire.
Just the height.
Yeah. And it was hot. It was like 95 degrees probably. It was the middle of summer. Salt Lake City gets hot in the summertime, like really hot. Might have been pushing 100. And I was pushing the lawnmower, and dude, I didn't want to be mowing the lawn anyway. And I was like 12 years old, 6th grade. And it was, it was either mow the lawn or you go play with your friends. And of course I had to mow the lawn. And I was pushing it, and it got stuck on the bush. Like that metal thing got like,
wedged.
The bush branch got like, wedged in between the tire and the little metal thing. And I was sweating and I was hot and I was like trying to get it out from the bush, and it wouldn't come out. And I
what word?
Let go of the lawnmower, and I just, at the top of my lungs,
F word?
8
years old?
I knew, no, 12.
Oh, 12, okay.
I knew my dad was around the corner working on something in the yard because our house had like a L-shaped backyard. And it was this moment of instant fear. Like, when you're watching a scary movie and you just know that something's about to happen because the music is like creeping up on you and the scene gets really slow and dark, dude. It was that absolute
jump
moment
out of
in
the
my
tree
life.
and just.
I just knew, and so it was weird because it was like time froze because I knew if he heard, I was done. Mm-hmm. But there was this chance.
He's praying on his knees like, yes,
maybe
he's a man.
Right. Well, no. Maybe he had just walked into the garage or something at that point. But I yelled it pretty loud. I mean, neighbors heard it, I'm sure. So I was.
And they're like, yeah, it's Emerson's kid. It's all good.
Oh, that's what they were thinking.
Yeah.
So the ironic part was it took about 10 seconds before he came around the corner. And he came around the corner.
With a belt?
Nope. Okay. He just came around the corner and he just stopped in his tracks and he stared at me and he said, "Get in the house."
Dang, you're in trouble.
And I was mortified. My dad was an intimidating dude, extremely intimidating. And so I go in the house and I sit down at the kitchen table. He comes in the house. He talks to my mom. My mom's like, "Come here." So I follow her. She takes me into their bathroom. And she sits me down, and she literally, like a Christmas story, put a bar of soap in my mouth.
So old school.
So old school,
so
dude.
Old school.
So old school. And I sat there for a good 10 minutes with a bar of soap in my mouth. And then, I mean, they must not be creative because they stole the whole scene out of Christmas Story. She takes the bar of soap out of my mouth, and the question that she asks me is, what do you think? What do you think the question is that she asks me? What would a mom ask a son in that situation?
Do you like how this feels? I don't know.
Where did you hear
that true. Johnny down the block, Mom.
Where did you hear that language? And I'm thinking to myself.
And then you turned into like a 1980s drug commercial. I learned it from you, Dad. Remember those? They still exist.
Yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, like, are you out of your
right?
mind?
Like, Mom.
Like, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Like,
that would have been so awesome if you did that. Oh.
You know exactly where, and I just said, I don't know. I wasn't gonna like rat on a friend like in the movie, right?
You don't need to.
The kid
She's
just starts
married
getting
to
beat.
the friend.
Remember that in the movie? Then she calls the mom, and the kid just starts getting beat on the.
So good.
Like, I'm not gonna do that because that would have just not been right. But I had heard that word a million times up to that point. I mean, I've been swearing since 8. And I'm
You've
12
not heard it. You've been taught it because we take after our parents in so many ways. Like, you want to become your dad a lot of times. So.
Yeah, like that was a part of my culture.
That's cool. Yeah,
it really was. Like swearing was a part of the household culture of the Boyd house, and that sticks in because at the same time, I don't want to have that same conversation with my kid. Like, and I don't want to have that same experience with my kid. You know what I mean?
You won't. Just because, I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation, you pre-kid and me 3-year-old, I feel like we won't have that situation because we're in tune as they grow to implement these things that we already want to, where they weren't, I think.
Well, I don't. So I've being around a lot of parents that and being a teacher and having kids in my classroom and things like that. I think the question that comes up that I really want to ask that we can dive into right now is, well, when as a parent, like when do you stop? And then
when do we stop swearing around the kids?
Yeah, and then when do you start again?
I think you have to stop, when they start talking and wrap their brain around. Because with me, recently, like the last 6 months, I'm like, I gotta cut back because she's hearing me, and it's only the shit she's using. And
remind the audience, how old are you again?
3, just turned 3. The thing is, though, here's how it starts. It's the cutest thing in the world when your daughter drops. Holy shit. It's the cutest thing in the world, And then it rides that way for a month or a while. I mean, you don't encourage it, but,
what about it, though, is cute? Like, when you say it's cute, what do you mean?
I don't know, man. I just like swear words, and I think it's cute when a little kid swears. It's like, honestly, a memory. My dad passed 2 years ago, but one of my favorite memories, I have a half-brother and sister, Sasha and Jake, if you're watching this, you guys are awesome. When they were little, Jake, my dad would leave me messages, and he goes, "Hey, Zach, what's going on? Hey, Jake wants to say something to you." And you just hear my dad go, "Hey, Jake, say fire truck. Say fire truck." And kids couldn't say T's, they'd say F. So he'd go, "Fire fuck." And it was the cutest thing in the world. It's the cutest thing in the world. Still
so he was doing it on purpose, right?
Yeah, hence, I mean, that's what I grew up with. My dad's a goofball.
Well, how old were you and how old was Jake at that time?
He probably was like 4, 5 maybe.
How old were you?
10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So, a while ago.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you own?
Wait.
I got other brothers and sisters?
No. What? If this was 10 years ago and he was 4?
Yeah.
So he's 14 now?
Yeah.
So you were in like your late 20s. Yeah. I didn't know you guys were that far apart.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Half brother, half sister.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think it's the coolest thing in the world. But for me, I've tapered back. It's now the teaching phase. First it's cute. Now it's teaching phase. And I don't mind that. Like, I mean, you have no control once they go off to wherever they go to. I mean, when these kids are influenced by TV and they have phone, I mean, like, you don't have control. So as you brought up before, it's the teaching phase as they grow. Swear words, in my eyes, aren't bad. It's how they, what you're going to say is how they use them, and they just know. I mean, and I think it goes in the same categories of so many other things. Drugs are going to come up. It's how you teach them. Sex is going to come up. It's how you teach them. You have no control what they're influenced by this day and age compared to when we grew up. It's way different. I mean, so...
You really believe that it's that different?
It's massively different.
Yeah.
We did not have phones and access to the internet 24/7 to anything you wanted to when we were 13.
Right.
13-year-olds right now have more access than all adults that I know because they know more about the internet and their phones than, not me, but like older maybe generations do. So,
yeah.
And I see this. Like when I DJ parties and stuff like this, I see 13-year-old kids, 11-year-old kids when I do a lot of kids parties, and I'm just like... I'm blown away with the knowledge and access they have. It's nuts. But swearing, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all. 0.
Okay. All right. So, well, it's funny that you bring that up because during, like, as we were researching this topic, right, we came across the book by a professor from UC Davis. He's a linguist professor. And so he wrote a book. And the reason he wrote the book, and I'll get into what the book is all about and the title and everything. But the reason he wrote the book is because he became a dad. Become a father, and the book is, his name's Benjamin Bergen, and the book is called What the F?
I like it.
What swearing reveals about our language, our brains, and ourselves. And so the whole concept of the book came about because he noticed that after he had a kiddo and he became a father, he started to really retract his amount of swearing.
Yeah, exactly what I
And
done.
it was almost to him, if I understand it correctly, Mr. Bergen, if I'm misinterpreting your book, I apologize. But if I understand it correctly, it was that he didn't like that he was pulling back from who he was as a person. Like, it was more about like, I need to be who I am and I need to show my kid who I am. So getting into your point, what he concluded in the book was that it's less about the actual words than it is the context in which we use those words, right? So it's more about he was noticing that his wife, this is kind of funny, was swearing when when she was helping her kid with math, like was being like, what the fuck, like I don't get this, like, you know what I mean, like this is bullshit. and I can only because that's another thing. My dad and my sister, I remember, oh my god, nights at the dinner table where they were doing math homework together, and my dad would just lose his mind because my sister couldn't comprehend what was going on, and he couldn't. It was a funny, and he would just lose his shit, and he would swear, and he was saying to his wife, like, whoa, like I don't know if the homework math time is the appropriate time to use the swear word.
I'm teaching my kid something, and then they're going to associate this with swearing.
Right. But he said, that there are times that he felt that it was in the right context in which you're, swearing. And then to your point, most importantly is educating them on when you swear, how you swear, what swearing is all about, why people swear. And I do believe that it comes back to everything that you say that you teach your kid in life.
It's just education. On everything, swearing, number one, is just educate. Why, how, is it okay to use it, is it not? The more education you give them, overload, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. They always do. The kids are smart and yeah.
Well, what do you think? So what do you think about, so you've gotten to a place with your kiddo.
I'm exactly how you described it, Bergen.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm doing the same thing. Retracting.
Well, okay, but so now it happens, right? So now you're in a setting, right? So picture this, everybody. You've got your kiddo. You believe that it's more about the context than it is the actual words. You've been swearing around your kid. They're using the swear words. You think it's cute. You think it's funny, and then you got to start retracting because you're like, whoa, wait a minute. They're using it in ways which they
so
probably
it's almost
shouldn't.
Like there's three categories. It's cute, education, and then rebellion.
Okay, but so what do you do then? So what's your strategy as a parent, right? And help the audience out, because maybe there's some people out there that I'm sure that they're having a hard time with this and they're not really sure on what to do. What's your strategy as the parent now that you're actually living this with your daughter? What do you do when she does swear and it's not the right context or it's not the right time?
I'm not there yet because she's not there yet to use the words fully of like, to make me mad, let's say, or she knows. I mean,
it's not about being mad.
She's in the testing phase right now, but if that were to be the case, I would. It's calm down time. We've researched timeout. What word to use, whatever, where to put them. Her stare right now on the staircase is her calm down.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to have a calm down? No. I'm like, so I would. It's always repetitive,
right?
And you'll see that with teaching children things. From what I've seen, is repetitive of everything. So if she were to start using that, then it's go to have a calm down. And go sit there till I can say you get up, and I would just always do that when that happens, But she knows, like, at 3 years old, she so knows how she's pushing buttons already that she'll walk literally right by me and go, "Holy shit!" And I'm like, "What'd you say?" And she goes, "Holy macaroni!" So she knows what she's doing, and I still think that's cute. I'm like, damn, my kid's smart at 3. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but what do you do? Because you've got that moment there where she's doing it
like,
deliberately.
Is she taking that smirk of me right when she says, like, I'm cool.
Oh, yeah.
I can keep doing it. It's, I don't really have that much control, but you can just teach as much as you can, educate, and discipline when you need to, I think, and repetitive on that, if you really want to go down that path. But the more education you do, because as she gets older, like if I get a call from her school, like she dropped the F-bomb, I would then have to dive deeper and be like, can you tell me how she used it? I'd talk to the teacher. I'd be like, how did she use it? And they tell me the situation, and she was like, there might be a time where like, well, I think that was okay for her to say.
Really? You think it would be okay for your daughter to use the F-bomb at school?
No, only because swearing to me is not as bad as it used to be, because swearing's okay to use. Compare it to what all the kids right now have access to. Like, just take music. Okay, it's not okay to swear on the radio, but you can give a full 8-bar verse about how a girl gives a blowjob to a dude, but doesn't say the word blowjob. And the kids, they're just dumb enough; they don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
It's usually they say it so well constructed that the adults don't, and the kids are doing it, and then
it's like the concept: if we don't teach about safe sex, we just teach about abstinence. Kids won't have sex.
Yeah, it's. For me, I mean, I say this now. This is the same thing as like how I say to you, like, wait till you have a child, it'll be different. It probably will be different when it happens to me. But right now, my views are that, if my kid's clever enough, then she drops something, and I'm like, good. Sometimes it might be good for you. Like, let's say at a teacher, she swore at a teacher. Let's say there's bad teachers out there, and let's say I don't like her either, and I'm like, you know what? That makes sense.
Well, so you would actually condone your daughter swearing at a teacher?
I don't know. It hasn't. See, here's the thing. I don't know either. It hasn't happened. I'm just saying, like.
So what would you do though? Because so when you get into that, I'm gonna jump in as teacher role, right? Because in my classroom, I had limitations in my classroom. Like, kid isn't swearing.
How old are the kids in your
second
classroom?
and third grade.
Okay.
So let's say I have a kiddo, and I wouldn't care even if it was 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. I don't think I would allow swearing because I think there are different. I think there are different opportunities to express yourself, and what I do agree with the concept that swearing is a very non-intellectual way of communicating. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to be an intellect,
it's an easy out.
It's a total easy out. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be a true intellect, like if you want to be powerful with your words, the less you swear, the more powerful you are.
So there's a good education to your child,
right?
Is when they swear, instead of being like, even if, let's say you open my mind, instead of me being like, it was okay to do that, I'd be like, it's not okay to use that. So what's another way you could do it? And you could be like smarter to come back at someone. And you're saying like be more intellectual and like reroute it a different route and like tell them, well, what if you would have done this? And then it opens up their mind. You're like, and then you educate them a different route. So it would be, as time goes on, it hasn't happened to me. Of course, I'm saying this and it'll probably be different, but as it goes on, these elements happen, these situations, just veer them other routes. Like how could you use this in a smarter way? Like instead of a swear word, is there any other way you could have gone about this?
Yeah.
Give me 2. Like, here's your punishment. You're not grounded, but I need you to go write me 3 different ways you could have established.
I want you to write on the chalkboard 100 times. I will not
the
swear
same thing
in
you
class.
wanted to 3 different ways without swearing. I like that actually.
No, I mean, that's a good strategy. I never thought about that
because
before.
that's life teaching right there.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, like I do agree with you on there is so much going on in the world that uses. I mean, cussing is everywhere. It is literally in every. I don't even know if an album could come out today that doesn't
you
have
can say
the
bitch
parental...
on the radio.
Yeah.
So if you can say it on the radio, why can't you? I mean, like, I'm not saying go use it, but I'm like, to get in trouble, to get sent to detention for it in 8th grade. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But if you
I mean, if you call your teacher a bitch, then yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but if you were like, God, this assignment's a bitch.
Yeah, true.
Or if you were like, you bitch.
Yeah, true.
Like that's where the words and the context come into play. Like,
and that's where I have to know.
You call someone the B word.
Yeah.
Like dude, in my opinion, that's suspendable. If my kid got suspended for calling a girl a B,
yeah, true.
I wouldn't be okay with that.
So it's how you use it then.
If my kid was like frustrated over their math problem and they were like, this is a bitch, I think I would not be okay with them getting suspended. So I really think that in the context of swearing that I think that you've got to be open-minded to how it's being used and when it's being used. And it's funny because I was having this conversation with my sister the other day because her son was dealing with an issue with a kid at school, and her response to her son was, "You need to tell that kid to shut the hell up." And her husband was sitting there, and he was like, "Whoa, like whoa, like you don't tell our 11-year-old to tell another kid to shut the hell up." And she said, no, I think that in this situation, with what's going on, I think he needs to take a stance and he needs to be really firm with what he's saying. And I think that what her point was she was getting across was that when you use the word in that context, in that situation where he was being kind of bullied in a way, that it's going to really make a strong stance on himself as a person and letting that other person know that what you're doing right now is not okay. Now, are there other ways that you could go about approaching it and different verbiage that you could use and different ways that you could approach it? Sure, you could. But in the heat of the moment, I guess if you're trying to teach your kid that there is a way to get your point across immediately, that would probably be it.
Yeah, so what you're saying is just the context you use it, the education behind it. It's tough to talk about it right now because you don't really know until it happens to how you're going to address it. But to have firepower in your pocket of how to address it, I think is more what you should educate yourself on, because there's a million different what ifs, and I hate the what if game. I don't even like to play it, but once it happens, to have firepower, have education behind you, to instead of just being like, that's bad, go to your room. You have to educate always. And
well, the thing with kids is and this is one thing that you really learn when you're studying. So my minor's in child psychology, right? So really studying the inner workings and the thinkings of a child, and I'm talking like younger age, like below 10, because I think that's when it really sets in on what it is. But what people don't understand about children at that age is they don't understand concepts like sarcasm. Mm-hmm. They don't understand concepts. They don't fully understand and grasp concepts like context. Mm-hmm. So they might be using it thinking that it's okay or it's funny or things like that, but they don't understand the implications that it actually has in the moment in which they're using it, because they don't understand how those concepts fully work. If you're sarcastic with a child who's like 6 or 7 or 8 years old, they do not understand it. Like, to them,
yeah, true.
They actually think you're being rude. Mm-hmm. I have actually had parents who came to me and would confront me and say, like, so-and-so came home and they said that you said this, and I was like, whoa, totally out of context, and I had to realize, like, wow, I was being sarcastic in that moment. I was not actually conveying the verbiage in the right way in the way that they understand it. So
I feel like at 3, my daughter knows maybe sarcasm. I don't know. Every time I'm sarcastic with her, she just looks at me with a face. She's like, "You're silly. You're silly, Daddy." So I'm like, well, you know I'm doing this? Like, but I get it. Like, so you just maybe really reprimanding, that first couple of times is important, like, because you're going to wrap your brain around, like, I remember when I swore and I was put in the bathroom and I had a bar soap.
Right.
Who knows, that may have been your first time, may have been your third, but that was the first time that you got punished for it.
Right. And I think if I honestly believe that if my father would have come around the corner and been like, whoa, like, what's going on? And just had a conversation with me, I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? Apparently you're pretty upset right now. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, Dad, sorry. Like, it was the lawnmower. I'm sweating. I'm heated. I'm like, and just had an adult conversation. Because I feel like at 12 years old.
That's what you think right now, though.
No, I would hope that in my situation, I would react in that way. And I'd be like, whoa, dude.
You will.
Like, hey, chill out. What's going on? And then have my son explain to me, like, or my daughter explain to me what's going on, and have a conversation, because I do think that there's a point where you got to start treating your kid like an adult.
Yeah.
You do. Not like, you can't swear.
Yeah. In a perfect world, yeah, you will. You're going to go into every situation wanting to do what you think, but then there's going to be the days where you're just over everything and you're like, I don't care about you right now. Yeah, I'm going to kick you. So go to your room or go sit down, because I'm over this right now. But then there's going to be days that, you're going to educate, and that's parenting right there. I mean, like, 101 is you go into it with what you want, and you're going to have no worries, because the fact that we're sitting here right now doing this podcast means we're paying attention more than I think our parents did. Not saying they did a bad job, right, but we are paying attention to a lot more. I think a lot of parents are this day and age than when we were brought up. But is that good or bad? Who knows? Too much information is bad sometimes, like, who knows? But I do feel like reprimanding and punishing is important, very important. And I'm trying to think back of, like, I don't remember swearing or doing this, because literally what sticks in my brain, like, your soap is, and I love my dad for doing this. If we ever did anything bad, he would literally go wet a handkerchief, handkerchief. What is it?
Handkerchief?
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 What is it called?
Hey there.
Oh, hey there. You want to put that in the bag? Give me some pasta. He would wet the handkerchief. Is it chief? Handkerchief.
I don't know.
Who came up with that word?
That is a weird word.
Hey man, you got that there handkerchief? Put it around my neck. Come on. He would wet it and he would wind it up and he would just
whip you. Oh.
he wouldn't like whip. He would just snap it. And that's how, like,
that
literally,
was his punishment.
We were brought up that way. Like, he would go get that, and
That was the paint stick.
I still to this day, like,
Dude, you do that this day, man. You'd be getting child
jail.
services.
I know. I've like joked,
Which that drives
I'm
me
like,
nuts.
what's the, because those bad days you have with children, it's like, how far can I go right now? Like, I mean, she's 3 and nothing bad yet, but like as they get older, like, can I even spank my child? I don't even want to, but I'm just like, I mean, every parent has done it. I don't care.
We're bringing that.
I don't care who
topic
you
to
are
the-
as a
to the
parent.
table.
You've been at that point, or you've just done something bad, and then you feel bad. Whatever. I mean, but like, I think it's okay because as we all grew up being punished, I was punished. You know, I was snapped like that with a wet towel. Like, left a mark sometimes. But we knew it instilled the fear, and sometimes you need to do that to teach
I'll tell
that
you
lesson.
the worst punishment.
What?
Guilt. Just like the silent, they
True.
don't talk to you.
True.
They just like, you pass them in the hallway of the house and they don't say a word. And you have to sit at the dinner table. And
true.
you try to conversate with them and they just keep eating.
I think it's a smart play.
Oh, it's a great play.
But you got to commit to that play.
Oh, you got to commit hard. And that's tough, dude.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a tough one. Well, this is an awesome topic,
Yes.
and I think that and we could go all day on this topic, but I think that I think what we've decided is that it's really about having great conversations with your kid, and I think that's what it all boils down to: is have great conversations with your kids, interact with them, and engage with them, and educate them on the appropriateness of it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to probably think differently, but at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? I mean,
There is no right or wrong way, as long as you just have a
My
way.
is the right way.
Yeah, Okay, Dad. Right? Yeah, be careful. You can't raise a child like that.
No.
As long as you have a way,
Yeah.
it's a good start.
Well, yeah, and hopefully that what this this conversation has helped people think about different ways that you could approach it, or a different mindset you can have when you do it. And I highly encourage you to get the book. Once again, it's Benjamin Bergen.
Yeah, we'll link it in the description.
Right.
We'll hit him up.
What the F? What swearing reveals about our language, our brains, and ourselves. And tell you what, Benjamin, if we could ever get you on the show, man, to talk about this stuff, it'd be awesome. So
Done.
We'll be we'll be tagging you on this stuff, and hopefully you can join us one day, because the article that I read about this book, it's hilarious. He swears all the time. I mean, he's constantly swearing. He's like, I constantly give my wife shit for swearing around our kids, not because I think swearing is a big deal. I swear my ass off, but because I realize there's a time and a place for it. And during first grade math is not it.
True.
That's
But
such a great
what's
statement.
funny about with adults and swearing is I'm drawn more towards people that swear.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
I just am like, and so is Jess, my wife, is like, I put her on like podcast world and some stuff now. She's opening her brain right now.
Yeah.
And
like MFCEO.
I'm like, why did you like that? And she's like, this and that, and I'm like, she just dropped the F-bomb. Because it's a way of connecting, and
It's real.
It's more so showing how swearing is okay,
Yeah.
and more of regular verbiage than it used to be.
Right.
That's how I see it, and it's a word. I mean, can it be hurtful? Yes, but
Yeah.
a lot of other things can, and it's how you use it. A bat can be hurtful, but
I'd also can hit home runs and make you millions of dollars.
it's all how you use it.
That's awesome. Well, this is a great episode. It's a great topic. Research it some more. Hopefully you guys, share your comments, your thoughts on this. We'd love to read them. We'd love to know them. We'd love to hear about them. And we'd love to even, get some insight on our thoughts, and, even develop some new ways that we can approach these type of situations with our kiddos and the other people that we influence in our lives as well. So once again, follow us. Make sure that you follow us, you like us, you comment on us, rate us. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, especially on our podcast, which will be on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, all those things. That's what's really going to help us drive. Make sure that we're doing our job and really meeting the needs of our audience, which is all of you. So thank you so much for being a part of this show with us. Anything you want to say before we get off?
If you want to tell me how to parent my kid, I'll be at Costco tomorrow at 10:30 eating a hot dog and a slice of pizza.
We are out. So peace the out.